Welcome. My name is Lucas Silva. I am the founder of Mono Dispatch, a company which exclusively works to help med spas and aesthetic practices close 15 to 20 new appointments every single week. You can see some here of my social links, but I just wanted to take some time to record this video. It is going to be my first YouTube video, and it's going to be a really in-depth training about how I view marketing in general and how I think you should basically get new appointments to your med spa. And some of these things are going to be a little bit more conventional, some of these things are going to be a little bit more unconventional, and that's why I've kind of accumulated this all together, put it into a process, put it into a document so that I can share it to you today. So let's go back here. And let's talk a little bit about the top 4 problems that all med spas face. Number 1 being no one knows who you are, so it's pretty self-explanatory, right? You just don't. No one knows who you are. You know, there's obviously new med spas popping up all over the place. Number 2 being you don't generate enough leads, so this one's pretty self-explanatory. 3, all of your clients come from referrals, and you don't generate any clients from cold traffic. So you basically just don't own any way to grow your business. You're relying on other people. And then number 4 being 99% of leads that do end up coming, that do end up converting, either can't afford to work with you or just simply not a good fit. So I created a program. It's designed to solve all these problems. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to talk about, basically, like I said, the most complete med spa marketing training. So this is really, this is our back-end process. This is how we view systems in general, and this is how we see marketing as an approach to grow your business. And you can see here, it might look a little bit complicated if you're just taking a first glance at it, but at the top you have your leverage, right? So these are the levers that you pull in order to make everything else happen, and that being media leverage, capital leverage, labor leverage, and code leverage. So I think those are pretty self-explanatory. And really the five main channels of, some people say it's 4, some people say it's 5. I think it's 5, really main channels of client acquisition. Some of them are more active and some of them are more passive. And you can see here at the top being paid ads, content, outreach, partnerships, and long-term nurturing. So I'm not going to break all of this down right now, but throughout the course of this video, throughout the course of this presentation, you'll get a better idea as to really how this works, how these paid ads channel leads to a Grand Slam offer, why your content would lead to that offer, how outreach leads to that offer, how your partnerships lead to that offer, and really creating a system that works within itself. And once it's built, it really allows you to create what we call a flywheel, where it's a system that feeds onto itself and it doesn't need as much maintenance as you might think. So let's go to close this and let's go to the next slide. So if you're sick and tired of working with marketing agencies that promise you the world and don't deliver, just read this training and see if you think it will help as you're watching this video. Basically just keep watching if you think this might help you, right? This is for you if you want to create multiple channels of driving traffic to your med spa, if you want to learn about creating killer med spa offers, if you want to increase patient loyalty, if you want to sell more packages and close more services, if you want to create and sell more of your memberships, or if you want to just make it pretty easy to book an appointment. So let's go a little bit about what we're going to cover in this training. The first thing being a system. As you saw in that photo, I think a lot about these things in systems because they are not acting on their own, right? They in fact are systems, and each system has a part to be played. It's kind of like when you build a car. If someone were to build a car, they don't just use one part. They use several pieces, several parts, and that ends up being a beautiful system that creates this moving thing that we can see on the streets. All right. And then number 2, I want to talk about mindset changes. Mindset being probably one of the most important things, because a business owner knows that the business is simply a reflection of themselves. And if their mind is not in the right place, the business is not going to be in the right place because they're going to take it out on their business, right? All of the problems that they have in their personal life, they're going to display also in their business. And then the three main problems. I know I spoke about four, but three main problems that most med spas face, what to do about it, our approach, and then generating more leads than you can really handle. So, like any system, this marketing system is really dependent on three main things, and it being the amount of input that you put in, your consistency, and then as you put in input and you're consistent, how often are you iterating? How often are you testing? How often are you trying new things? So to properly implement any system, marketing or not, these are just systems thinking in general, you need to put in the work, you need to be consistent, and you need to continue to improve that system. Because everything eventually just atrophies and dies. You need to continue to improve. So you may not be able to implement it quickly and easily by yourself, but anyone can do this. And I'll go over our system and why we prefer to not rely on one channel for apartment booking and client acquisition. And hopefully by the end of this, if I've done my job correctly, it'll all make complete sense and you'll be pretty excited. So here's a sad but pretty real truth. There are going to be several people that watch this video that read this training, and there are going to be a ton of people that just can't even get through it, right? Most people nowadays, they don't have focus to spend an hour watching a video to work for their business. So that's why I'm going to make this video pretty long, so that the people that are truly interested will watch this video and will take action, right? Or, they'll realize a lot of things maybe that they didn't realize before, and they're going to take the chance to improve it. So unfortunately, it is just the way of the world. I'm not mad by it, but I do what I can to basically hold on to my attention. I think most business owners should, and that's just really the name of the game, right? There's going to be people like this person one here is going to be ready to take action. They're going to go through this training. They're going to consume this, and they're going to say, okay, that's great. These are the problems I need to solve. And then there's always going to be that second person that's like, I don't know, it's a lot of work, it's not the right time for me. And at the end of the day, you get to decide the person that you want to be, all right? You get to decide that. No one decides that for you. And all I know is that the world belongs to those who take action. So you can really decide who you want to be. Like I said, do you want to be person one who sees that you have problems, as most business owners do, because no business is perfect? Are you going to be ready to take that action when you identify the problem, or are you going to continue to put it off, right? You're going to say it's too much work, or it's just not the right time for us right now. That's the name of the game. At the end of the day, the med spa and aesthetics wellness place is going to grow by 13% year over year. So this is an industry that's growing, and there are going to be more and more competitors. So right now is the time to get serious, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. And really something to note is that the competition, they don't start like taking notice of you until you become the competition. So what do I mean by that? This guy here is only going to pay attention to the person closest to him. He's not worried about the guy all the way down here. He's just not. Right? This guy is not his competitor. He's already close to the top of the mountain. This guy at the bottom is not his competitor. So it's important to understand that the businesses who are known and established are truly competing. Until then, most people don't even know about you, and you aren't too big enough for them to worry about you anyways. So if you want to disrupt that, then keep reading, and if you follow the system, your competition will have no choice to notice you, because at the end of the day, you are the master of your fate, and we want you to become undeniable. So do what you will with this information. So let's go into the mindset changes. First, let's reverse engineer this process. So for you to understand this, what I'm going to outline, you need to kind of understand how I came up with it. So how I came up with the system and why it fundamentally works. The process involves something called inversion thinking. If you consume a lot of business content, you probably have heard of Charlie Munger. You've probably heard of people like Alex Hormozy, and these are people that think like this, right? They look at a problem or a decision from basically the opposite point of view. So, for example, rather than focusing on achieving success, inversion encourages you to consider how to avoid failure, right? So this image here, it kind of represents that, but it's not so much, right? It's kind of hard to represent in a specific image. But if you're having trouble getting leads, what you would want to ask yourself, if you're going to follow the inversion line of thinking, is okay, what would we do if we wanted to continue to get as little leads as possible, right? So that's kind of what that looks like, right? So ask yourself, how do I get 0 leads and 0 appointments? Well, first, you're not going to make anyone an offer. You're probably not going to tell anyone about that offer. You're not going to post any content. You're not going to reach out to anyone. You're not going to have a clear call to action regarding your offer. You're not going to have clear messaging about what that offer is and who it's for. You probably would have no online presence if you wanted to get 0 leads and 0 appointments. You'd have no website. You'd have an unoptimized Google My Business page. You would basically ignore social media completely. You wouldn't do SEO. You wouldn't have a client list. You wouldn't work with other businesses that target the same ideal audience type. You don't conduct any follow-up. You don't get reviews. You don't post testimonials or client success stories. You don't run a referral program. You don't reactivate your database. You don't run paid ads. You don't automate simple tasks. And you just don't have a sales or clinic process. So these are like good ways to get no leads, right? So if you follow my inversion line of thinking here, do all of these things if you want to get no leads, right? All of the lead generating activities, just think about what those are and say, yeah, I think I'll just do none of it. Because when you put it like this, when you frame it like this, you start to realize that there are a limited amount of things that you can do to generate leads, and there are a limited amount of things that you can't do to generate leads, right? So it's limited. It's not an infinite amount of options. And to create this inversion line of thinking, you're doing it in order to realize what is most important, right? If I want to generate leads and I'm doing all of these things, I'm not doing all of these things rather, then you understand that those are not lead generating activities. So the logic is that if we want to get the opposite results, which is lots of leads and lots of appointments instead of 0 leads and 0 appointments, we can pretty much do the opposite of these things because it makes us identify what are truly lead generating activities, not just us coping and saying, oh yeah, these things are lead generating activities, but they're really not. So like I said, this is inversion thinking, and it is a useful tool in determining what is important and what is not important. So I'm done editing. Let's go to the next stage. Okay. I don't have time. This is probably the funniest thing that I hear. It's so funny because if you don't have time for your business, what do you have time for? Right? You probably waste a ton of time on things that don't matter. And that's not just you. I'm guilty. Right? I am guilty of spending time on things that don't matter. But if you don't have a clear set of things that you're going to do in order to move the business forward, then you're probably just not conducting all of the right tasks. But regardless, if you say that you don't have enough time and you believe it to be true, then it is true to you, and I can't change you of that opinion, right? So the only way to truly counteract this is for you to figure out that for yourself. If you say that you don't have enough time, you have to do a time audit. I can't do that for you, right? I know that most people spend a lot of time on ridiculous things. I just know that, right? But you have to be able to know that. So to counteract this, we'll make 2 time and lifestyle challenges that we can basically implement right now. It just depends on your level of commitment. So we'd want to wake up early, and we'd want to block the first 3 hours off of our day in order to conduct basically 5+ hours of work. Because if I know the math is not mathing, guys, but if you can take 3 hours every day that you completely block off, most people can spend 2-3 additional hours that they can basically trim off not doing important things throughout the day, right? So if you can take the time in the morning to plan out and conduct the tasks needed to get more appointments and get more leads, you can always conduct your services after. So if you wake up at 6 a.m. and you started to get, implement this stuff within your first 15, 30 minutes of waking up, you can basically block off your first 3 hours if you start at 9, right? And then you'll have 2 to 3 hours where you can actually do focused without any distractions. And this is just in the morning. So with these 2 changes, you'll have more than enough time to do any and all work that you need to do to generate more leads. And without these 2 changes, you basically continue to suffer. So at the end of the day, the time that you do this stuff doesn't matter, but it's a good way to get it done in the morning, because I find that if you get the most important things done in the morning, it makes your day a lot easier. So part of the problem, because we want to make it where you never have to worry about leads, we have to address something that might be uncomfortable to a lot of people. And that thing is you, right? A lot of people will come up with a bunch of excuses as to why their business isn't where they want it to be. But let's be honest, just for the pure sake of getting better, and this isn't me passing judgment because I've been there, and sometimes I am there, but many business owners are plaguing their own business because of themselves, right? They get stuck in a wheel of complacency, they don't take calculated risks, or worse, they just don't do the work. So if you want to get places that your business has not gotten to, then you need to become the person that can achieve that. And the truth is, if you were that person, it's likely you would already be there. So how do we start tackling the first half of the battle, which is really most of the battle, and it's just ourselves, right? It's just continuing to do the work. And it is work, right? Working on yourself is work. And if you think it doesn't apply to your business, then I'll concede that argument to you if you believe that to be true. I believe the opposite. I think we all know that we can do more if we didn't hinder our own abilities. And in this life, it's really a constant battle against ourselves, against our minds. And if you find that is happening to you, then read the next slide. I'm recording this right around a week after the Boston Celtics won, I think it's their 18th championship. I am a Celtics fan. I lived in Boston, but that is a story for another day. Ultimately, everyone wants to win until it's time to do what winners do. And that is something Joe Mazzulla, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, said, and I think the second round of the NBA playoffs. And this is when they were having a couple of issues, not too many, but a couple of issues. And he said this to a reporter who said, well, how did you guys battle out of that hole? Well, he said, everyone wants to win until it's time to do what winners do, right? And it's doing the stuff that no one wants to do, right, is really what actually allows you to win. So if I want to take this away from med spas, marketing, business in general, I just want to focus on one thing. Do you truly want to be the best at what you do? All right, you're probably reading this because you want to learn, hence you're showing a commitment to try to be the best at least. But it only comes down to what you do, not what you're going to say that you do, or not what you're going to plan to do. And the people who win in any aspect of their life, whether it be athletics, business, relationships, they're committed to doing the things they don't want to do in order to be the best. The best separate themselves by willingly working on the things that most people avoid, and that's why most people are average. If you want to be an average med spa owner, you should read all of this and do nothing and say it won't work, it doesn't work, it won't work for me, and you'll be right in the crowd, right? You'll be right in the average crowd of med spa owners. But if you're committed to being the best at what you can do and you can take heed of this information and do something about it. So I think about the people that did things they probably didn't want to do, right? I think about people like Kobe Bryant, David Goggins, Tony Robbins, Malala, Michael Phelps, Mother Teresa, Harriet Tubman, and Lionel Messi. Regardless of who you admire, there's people from different walks of life here. Everything could be against you, and all of these people do what they didn't want to do, and many of them out of necessity, right? You're probably comfortable because you don't feel enough pain. These people felt enough pain, and we'll just put it that way. So, in order to understand your pain, I think to really take heed and move forward, you have to have motivation. And motivation, it's not this thing that is just going to continue to keep you doing the right things, but if you can understand why you're doing something, you can take one step and put it in front of another and continue to do it even when it's hard, right? So Friedrich Nietzsche had said, he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. So when you're having trouble and you're facing obstacles along the way, whether it be with your business or anything, you have to even ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the point? So because of that, we want to create something that we call the motivation list. And this list is something that you can create to remind yourself why you need to take your business to the next level. So you should create one for yourself and just, put a ton of reasons on there, right? Whether it be positive or negative, you can cater to all of your emotions, both noble and petty. And the more reasons you have to do something, the more likely you will to do it. So make your own list, bookmark it on your browser, and set an alarm for something like 8 a.m., noon, and 4 p.m. to remind you to read it. And the only things that should be there should truly be there, right? The things that truly motivate you. The positive motivation should inspire you, and the negative motivations should make you have your skin heat up and your blood boil. So don't put things in there for the sake of it, and you'll really truly know what your motivations are. If not, you'll find out pretty quickly. So what are the daily tasks that will need to be completed in order to create a system like this? So you'll probably need to spend about an hour a day prospecting and managing cold outreach campaigns, probably an hour a day of creating content, maybe 30 minutes of creating offers, 30 minutes of managing paid advertisement campaigns, 30 minutes of managing a referral program, 30 minutes of writing newsletters, and then 30 minutes of package building and membership management. So this is about 4.5 hours per day, and this is what it takes if you basically want to handle it up all yourself. This is the work. You can't make excuses for this. It's just what drives the needle forward. So how will you get this done? To be honest with you, when I need to churn out large volumes of work, this is what I do. I put my hoodie on, I put my water on my desk, I drink it, I close my blinds, have my fan on, I keep the room cool and dark. I put on some headphones, I listen to Focused Work Beats playlist, and then I get my timer on. I have my little timer right here for 60 minutes straight with my phone out of the room, and I take 15 minutes every hour, and then just get right back into it. And then I make sure that I basically have every hour planned out so that I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. And as I continue to knock out those tasks at the end of the hour, I make sure I did everything and I knock them off, and then basically outline everything else that I have to do for the rest of the day. So I will also outline everything you need to do in this free training and others. This is the first of a couple of free trainings that I will be posting up. But that's my productivity setup. And if you set your environment for productivity, you'll find it hard to not do the work, right? So people find it hard to do work because they have their phone right next to them while they're doing work. Like, how are you going to get anything done? Like, that phone is popping notifications off every 2 seconds, right? You have 17,000 browsers up. You have 82 notifications coming in, a bunch of apps open. Like, I like to keep my stuff very simple. And if you see here, I have a couple of tabs up. I keep a couple of things down here at the bottom. And when I'm doing work, I'm doing work, right? So that's the idea. You just need to set up your environment to succeed. And if you do that, you'll find that it won't be hard to get this stuff done. So the top 3 problems for 99% of med spas is, like I said, they don't generate enough leads, or they just have an unpredictable amount of leads coming in. Sometimes they experience feast, sometimes they experience famine. They have a hard time converting cold traffic to frequently returning clients, and they don't have options for unqualified leads. So 99%, 97%, whatever, of their leads get wasted. So problem number 1, they don't have enough leads. A lot of times this is a misdiagnosed problem, but if people are basically not rushing to your spa, you don't have enough leads. So you need to be able to generate more leads. And most med spas don't generate enough leads because they rely a lot on their referrals and repeat business. And there's nothing wrong with that, but referrals or repeat business is not in your control unless you put it in your control. But most of the time, people are not running a referral program. They're just relying on word of mouth. And it's extremely unpredictable. And let me ask you, do you really want to stake the future of your company on something that you don't control? So you need to generate more leads, right? Because at the end of the day, there's going to be those couple of people that are always going to refer. But what about all those people that don't know those people? And what about all those people that aren't getting referred? So we need to generate more leads. We also need to be able to convert more cold traffic. So what do I mean by this? You need to find a way to nurture your leads, right? And what I mean by this is not necessarily manually, but still nurturing your leads. And the problem is that on top of generating leads, most med spas have no way to nurture those leads through a funnel once they're generated, because they don't have mechanisms in order to convert them into actual appointments at a really high rate. So the lead may have filled out the form, signed out for your newsletter, followed you on Instagram, or liked your post, but if it doesn't go much further than that, then you don't have a successful lead nurturing process. And in addition to generating more leads, you also need a system that warms those leads up so that they can actually convert. Because what is the point at the end of the day if they aren't going to convert? So and that's because cold leads don't buy services, right? At the end of the day, like I mentioned in the beginning, you want to be undeniable, right? Why should people book with you? There are a ton of med spas popping up all over the place, and you should kind of take what I'm doing here as an example, right? I'm giving you free value so that you know I can do what I say I can do. And the same way, there are a ton of marketing agencies that offer services to med spas. I want to stand out. So you should look to do the same, right? You don't want your cold leads to think that you're just another commodity, you're just another person that will handle some services that you get done. So only warm leads will book calls with you, and only warm leads will convert into clients. Because at the end of the day, you cannot sell a high-priced service to someone who is cold. It just simply doesn't work. And it may be the issue you have tried Facebook ads or meta ads in the past and you claim it didn't work. So you need a system that works 24/7, 365, and once you build it, it will work round the clock to nurture cold traffic into warm leads and get them to the point where they're ready to talk to you. And you need to establish that presence once you are targeting new people. So problem number 3 is that when you do generate new leads, they don't have options, so they end up getting wasted, right? Here's what you should remember. Regardless of where you are, your target market, your services, how beautiful your med spa are, there are always going to be people that cannot afford your services. These people are both poor in their bank account and poor in their mindset, right? There's always going to be people that are going to go on Groupon, they're going to price hop one place to another, they're never going to be loyal to a specific business, they're always going to look for the cheapest price, they're going to come in, they're going to haggle you. These people are poor, right? In their bank account and their mindset. And it's okay to be poor in your bank account. In terms of your mindset, you can change that. So I would say no, it's not okay to be, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. These people will never buy something from you, whether it be $10 or $100, and there's nothing you can do. So we don't have to be bitter about it, we don't have to whine about it. It's just a fact of life. So if 80% of people will never buy from you, that means only 20% of total leads are left. Now, not all of these leads will be looking right now, right? So in fact, only 3% of any given target market is actively looking for a solution right now. So this rules out 17% of the 20% that is remaining and leaves you with only about 3% left. So think about it. If you generate 100 new leads, which is far more than the average med spa, and there are only going to be like 3 leads left, potentially, that might be open to buying that package, right? And this doesn't mean that they're thinking of buying from you. This means they aren't even ready to book a call or book in a consultation. So there are just 3 people that could potentially buy your service from you in your target market. So the idea here is to not just go after your target audience, you want to go after everyone, because it's hard to always find the people that are going to buy right now. It's just almost impossible, right? So you always need consistent leads, because even if they don't buy right now, they might buy in the future. And that's just how it is, right? This is a fact of life, cannot be changed. It's almost as permanent and definitive as the law of gravity, and there's no sense of fighting it. So to get around this, you have to have different levels of offers, because if you're just selling one high ticket package, it's not going to work for everyone, right? It's just not. And for the same reason that car manufacturers sell cars at different price points to accommodate different levels of the market, you need to have different products that can be sold to different target markets. And most med spas won't do this because they just want to sell that high ticket package or that high ticket service. And once you do, you will probably even double, triple, 5x, 10x, or even 50x your income without any additional effort. It just takes thinking about the products and services that you already offer them and changing the way that they're being offered to your market. So what are you going to do about these problems, right? There's increasing pressure on your med spa. Not only pressure from above for the average business owner, but there's also pressure from below. So according to Grandview Research, the medical aesthetics industry is growing 14.9% year on year. That means more competition, more innovation, more players in the market. And if you think about your ideal client, right, they're noticing this. They're noticing that med spas are popping up all over the place. Inflation is bad. Economy is bad. There's competitors improving every day. There's going to be improvement via AI and automation. And there's going to be all of these things, all of these factors, all of these problems that basically determine that the revenue isn't going to go to you, right? They're going to go to different med spas. So it is estimated that in the US alone, by 2032, the market revenue size of the aesthetics industry will go to nearly $45 billion per year. And that's a stark contrast from only 2 years ago, in 2020, when the market revenue size was only $15 billion. So it's going to triple in the space of 10 years. And those are just estimations, right? It might even grow much quicker than that, as we start to see most of these med spas popping up all over the place. So this industry is going nowhere, and it's only going to get more competitive. So you have two choices, and you should decide pretty quickly, right? The market is getting tougher as med spas are entering the market from every direction, and anyone who's average is going to get wiped out long term. So everyone sells these services: Botox, laser hair removal, IPL, and this is why you aren't getting ahead. You're just like every other med spa in your area. And it'll eventually end up to the point where the top 1% of med spas and aesthetic clinics who can do this generate 99% of the revenue and the profit. And I'm going to tell you why, right? Because it's not the case yet, but it slowly progresses towards this day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. Because you need to stand out. You need to generate more leads. So how are you going to do that? So the decision really is, like I said, it's two decisions. You have two options. You have to you either continue to rely on those warm leads and those referrals to grow your business, and then you'll eventually just slowly stagnate and die off, or you can learn to generate leads and systematically convert cold traffic at scale. So if you're a business owner in 2024 and beyond that, these are your options, right? Everyone can choose freely which option they want to take, but it's getting pretty stark out there, and like I said, you have the pressure from above and the pressure from below. Consumers are going to have more choice, and the market is only going to grow. So here's our approach. Our approach is to never rely on one channel for appointment booking. So if you can see at the top of our MediMastery funnel, there are 5 forms of client acquisition: paid ads, content, outreach, partnerships, long-term nurturing. And if you're wondering where the referral channel is, it isn't a channel. And everyone that I speak to that relies on referrals always says the same thing. At some point throughout the year, they have a dry spell where they see almost no one. And I just think that's an abysmal way to run your med spa. You can do better, so you should do better. Let me go back here, and let me click done. So there's always the one person that runs paid ads as well that expects themselves to just convert a cold audience on their first go, right? Just by paying Facebook. So the point here is that you don't rely on any one of them, and you don't have to rely on Facebook, you don't have to rely on content, you don't have to rely on outreach, you don't have to rely on partnerships, you don't have to rely on long-term nurturing, right? It's actually riskier to rely on one of these things, because at the end of the day, the heartbeat of your business is appointments, because they lead to sales. So if you can't book appointments and you're just relying on one way to get appointments, what happens if that one channel dies off for a myriad of reasons that I could go into? But people, they often associate risk with the attempt, where in fact the risk is actually where there is no attempt. So I think it's actually riskier to not implement these things than to say, yeah, I'm going to implement these things. you can fail and you can improve. If you do nothing, there's nothing to improve upon. So let's kind of break down some of the most basic concepts, right? What is a lead? So I want to continue the line of inversion thinking and break it down so that we can truly understand, because if we want to generate appointments, we need to properly define some of these terms. And of course, so what is a lead? A lead is a general term for someone that you can contact, and that's pretty much it. So if you have their email, if you have their phone number, then that is a lead. If someone signed up for a form, for example, and they gave you their email, they've become a lead. So what is a cold lead in that case? A cold lead is someone who you can contact but has shown little to no interest in you, in your offer, or in your business. And when someone becomes a lead for the first time, this is, for the most part, where they will start out, right? When someone first submits their info, this is pretty much where they start out. Not always, but pretty much. And a warm lead is someone who has shown interest in your offering, so they've downloaded, many lead magnets, what we call in the marketing space, or they've signed up for many offers. Maybe they haven't ever come in, but they've signed up for many offers. They've responded, they've shown interest, but they maybe haven't booked a call yet. A qualified lead is someone who has been nurtured and fits the profile of an ideal customer with the intent to buy now. So this is pretty much someone saying like, hey, do you have a slot for Tuesday at 10:30? That's a qualified lead. So there are different levels of leads, and that's why I want to explain that. So the four main ways of generating leads, you really have outreach, content, partnerships, and paid ads. I include long-term nurturing because it's a system that you have control over in terms of your reviews, your SEOs, your case studies, those sort of things, but it's not very active, it's more passive, and it happens as a result of these four things really. So you need all four. Try not to buy into the idea that you need to pick one acquisition channel and master it. You may have an acquisition channel that works best, but all four are important because each one makes the others more effective. So I want you to get rid of that self-limiting belief that you might have right now and say, nope, just focus on one. If we do one, we're going to be good. Well, get rid of the people that tell you that in your life. They don't serve you, and your thoughts don't serve you. Those just hold you back. So I think of this funny image. You can't just rely on a personal brand or run ads or do cold outreach or rely on partnership. You have to do all four at the same time. And then you see the person that just accepts it as a fact of life and says okay, or the person that tries to fight it, right? At the end of the day, do you want to be okay, or do you want to be the best? Do you want to be undeniable? So the best, they are undeniable. They're recession proof. They don't suffer highs and lows of business because they set themselves up not to rely on one thing for their entire business to generate sales. So let's become undeniable, shall we? So you really need to do all four. I don't even want to go through this slide. Just accept it as a fact of life, right? Because anytime you rely on one thing, there's an element of risk. If you have one client, you're screwed. If you have one service, you're potentially screwed. If you have one revenue stream, you're pretty much screwed. And if you have one acquisition channel, you're pretty much screwed. Because if you're too close to zero, let's put it that way, right? You're just way too close to zero. If one acquisition channel stops working, you're at zero, right? And if you have four and one stops working, you're still at three. I wouldn't put all of my money in a single stock, and I wouldn't put all of my money into a single client acquisition channel either. And you shouldn't put the future of your business into one channel, because at the end of the day, things change, accounts get banned, trends go out of style, markets shift. So you need to be all four to be on top of this. And what most med spas do really is they cross their fingers and they just hope that people will convert. If you're okay with hoping that business will pick up, this is not for you. This is a very active approach. This is not very passive. These are the type of people that put up one Facebook ad and think it's going to change their business. And let's be serious. Do you ever buy because you saw one ad or product or service? Or do you buy because you continue to see it everywhere? You continue to see people talk about it. People say it's great. So just think about you as a consumer. Think about your purchasing habits. Almost anytime we buy something, it's based on the intentional marketing and targeting that a company has put into place. So, these companies, they create great products and services, they create great content, and around those products and services. They pay for advertising to push them. People talk about them. People talk about how great it is, and influential businesses or people team up with them to continue to promote it. So don't be the med spa that doesn't have any intentionality. Be the med spa below. Or don't be the med spa owner below, rather. There's going to be an image where I show you which med spa owner to be, but you definitely don't want to be the med spa owner that just runs a Facebook ad to a cold audience and is like, hey, that's good enough. It's going to certainly get you leads. It'll certainly get you people booked, but it's not going to be as good as if you have even, say, a Facebook ad and you're promoting a ton of content on your page. Just adding the content, you'll notice that people will click your ad, they'll click your page, they'll scroll through, they'll put in their information. People do that, right? Think about when you go to a restaurant or any business in general, right? Just think about yourself as a consumer. What do you do to determine you're going to give someone business when it's a service-based business, right? Service-based businesses, you check their reviews, you check their page, you see if they have an active Instagram, you see if they have a bunch of photos on their Google page. You do all of these things, right? So they end up working upon each other. And as you can see in the image below, you can substitute it, or the image above rather, you can substitute the words for paid ads or content or referrals. The point is that if you're relying on one channel for your appointment booking, you're always going to experience feast or famine, which in the long run ends out to being average, right? Because people just end up looking at you like, who is this person trying to sell me something? You know, that's a good offer. Maybe I'll sign up and maybe I'll come in, but I'm not really motivated. I don't know. Probably won't, right? And I want you to remember that word, undeniable. Let's keep that in here, okay? So let's talk about how all of these work together. At the end of the day, you want to create a system that works in unison. All of these channels feed off of each other. So we all buy differently, right? Some people do. They see an ad and they sign up and they go through that process. But ultimately, we want the probabilities to work in our favor because amateurs think in absolutes and professionals think in probabilities. So if you're saying this is a lot of work or this doesn't work, then fine. Continue doing what you're doing. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people that think they can do better and are hungry to do so. And if that's you, then continue reading, because this is how we increase our probabilities of converting cold audiences, people that know nothing about you, to a warm audience, people who are ready to buy and book. So think about that lead on the other side, right? What if they see your Instagram content, right? And then they see you on Facebook because they're both linked. It's going to be, it's also going to be recommended on Facebook as well. And then they see you on TikTok, right? Because TikTok gets your information too and your cookies and all that good stuff. And then maybe they get a cold email from you because they signed up for your newsletter through an offer. And then they see your Facebook ad or your Google ad. And then maybe even they got referred by a friend, or they went to their local gym and they saw you there too. Or they saw you working with a local influencer. And then they went to your Google page and they saw that you have great reviews, tons of testimonials. Like, that person looks at you like, oh my God, they are undeniable. These people clearly have the best med spa in the area. They're everywhere, right? I see their content, I see their emails, I see their messages, I see their ads. My friend referred me. I saw that they had a local partnership with my business, with a coffee shop, with a local gym. They were working with so-and-so influencer. And then I checked out their Google page and they have a ton of reviews, testimonials. Wow, you look like a professional, right? So this is the Pareto distribution, and it's an observable phenomena conceived by Vilfredo Pareto, which is an Italian, I think he was an economist. But what he found out was that across the board throughout societies, natural structures and human activities, that 80% of outcomes are attributed to 20% of the causes. And that might sound a little strange, but if you've ever heard of it, it's called the 80-20 rule. And what does it mean, right? So 80% of the wealth is with 20% of the population. So if you think about wealth, right, most of the people that are wealthy hold most of the wealth, and then the rest of the people are kind of given the scraps. So what does this mean? It means that 20% of businesses generate 80% of the revenue in their market. It means that 20% of businesses work harder and smarter than the other 80% combined. And this is why 80% of all of the wealth in the world is accumulated by about 20% of the people. right? And if this helps you bring it closer to home, it's even biblical, right? Just to understand how much this is a part of human nature and human structures. So it's Matthew 13:12. To anyone who has, more will be given, and he will grow rich. From anyone who has not, even what he has will be taken away. So regardless of whether you're religious or not, doesn't matter. This phenomena is deeply rooted in truth, in science, and in belief throughout the world. And oftentimes truth is where divergent paths meet at the same destination. So science, whether you believe it's true science, religion, it's unimportant. The truth is clear. 20% of businesses generate 80% of the revenue in their market. Now, we can either complain that this is a fact of reality, or we can try to be the 20%. Only one is going to help you get to the 20%, right? It's not going to be complaining. So most people will complain. And why is this important, you might ask? Because 20% of you will look at this information, understand it to be true, that for you to be the best, you need to do more of the right things that matter in your med spa. And I write this for the 20% that want to generate 80% of the sales in their market. So this is why this isn't optional, right? To generate leads and consistently convert cold traffic into clients, you need to do all of these things. There's simply no way around it. There's no self-limiting belief that is going to make you do this. You just need to do it. And none of these things are actually true anyways, right? But they don't have to be. If someone believes them to be true, they are true to them, and they accept that fact. So if you work and you do this stuff and you say, okay, I'm not going to let these self-limiting beliefs like I can't post that much content, or I don't want to be public, or reactivation offers don't work in my market, or Facebook and Instagrams don't. If you don't believe that, fine, right? None of these things are actually true. But most things in business work on a spectrum, not a binary. Doesn't mean that it's going to work 100%, and it doesn't mean that it's not going to work at 0%. It's just how well do you want it to work, right? So let's go to the next one. So what happens when you start generating massive amounts of leads? So if you're able to generate leads and systematically convert cold traffic, you'll find that there's such a beautiful ripple effect that happens. So the more leads that you generate, the less needy you are, and the less needy your clients will be, the easier it will be to sell. You'll not have to take on those nightmare clients that maybe you might have had to do in the past. You'll have more clients, which will lead you to more referrals, which will lead you to the ability to charge more higher prices, to give you more margin, so that you can hire better people, so that you can spend less time working, so that you can reinvest in your growth, and so that you can have more leads. It's a beautiful thing, right? And everyone understands that on a basic level that more leads equals more clients. And that part is pretty obvious, so it is hard to really think of any possible situation where more leads led you to getting fewer clients. It gives you more options. So, however, more leads means much, much more than just getting more clients. It literally changes every single part of your business, and I just went through that in the image there. So let's address problem number 1. You don't have enough leads and probably unpredictable lead flow. So to address the problem, we have to diagnose that it is a problem. So these are the questions that you should ask yourself. What is the true problem, right? What am I doing on a consistent daily basis to generate more leads to the business? Am I posting content? Am I trying to run ads? Am I trying to reach out to new people? Have I created an offer that generates interest to cold audiences? Do I provide an amazing service? What am I doing to convert cold leads into warm leads? These are just a few, but it's meant to make you think about what you may or may not be doing. And no successful med spa or business runs off of hope. So the questions you should be asking: how do I provide an amazing service? Okay, cool. How do I generate cold leads? How do I turn cold leads into warm audiences? How do I qualify warm leads? How do I qualify leads to book a call or come in for a consultation? How do I convert sales into paying clients? And then how do I provide an amazing service? So instead of how do I get clients, those are the questions you should be asking. Because at the end of the day, these are all steps that people need to take in order to sell them. And once you understand that it's a multi-step process, each step should be viewed as its own objective. And you realize that you're only about maybe 15 to 20% of the way there. Once you understand this, in many ways, you're already in the top 5 to 10% of business owners, because all you have to do is understand that most things are systems. You incorporate a system and you automatically take care of each of these steps. And this is what I'm going to show you how to do in the following slides. So if you think about your target market, this is how you reach cold leads, right? Like I said, there's 4, I put 3, content, outreach, ads. Most people are going to be cold leads. They're going to be, like I said, the 80% of people that won't make it past this stage. Then you have the 17 of the 20 remaining that won't make it past warm leads. They might respond interested. And then you're going to have the people that are actually qualified, that book the call, book the consultation, and then the people that became customers. So as you can see, it kind of looks like a funnel, and that's why they call things marketing funnels, because the thing that trips up a lot of people is that they just lump all leads into one bucket. They think that, oh, it's a cold lead, like what's going on? So if you fail to even make the distinction, you're going to fail to figure out how to convert people, because you think that it's just from step 5 to step 6. Like it's not. It's like step 5, step 6, step 7, step 8, step 9, right? So for all intents and purposes, you should view all of these steps as different things or different goals or different processes entirely. So let's talk a little bit about MedSpa offers. And we're only 50 minutes through, guys. All right, so what is an offer? Your offer is what you sell, what you do. It is your mode of communicating to your cold audience how they can participate in your services or products you sell. You need an offer. An offer does not equal a discount. It is separate. Your offer is how you communicate to the marketplace in order to get people, aka leads, to know about you. And most of the time, this comes in the form of an ad, a social post, an SMS blast, an email campaign, partnership campaign. It's your way as a business to say, hey, here's what we do, and you don't want to miss it. So if you can 2x your offer, you can 2x your clients, because a great offer is going to accomplish 2 things. It is going to transfix anyone that comes across it, and it provides a powerful incentive to visit your clinic, and it's going to isolate you from your competition and put you in a clinic class of its own. So how do we accomplish that? There are great tools and resources and books such as Alex Hormozy's $100 million offers to help you with this, but I'm going to help you improve your offer in a very specific way tailored to med spas. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to decommoditize your offer. So let's go into that a little bit. So remember what we said about more and more med spas popping up everywhere? You have to understand that you can't just sell your services the way that they are, because that's what everyone else is doing, right? They're just services. At the end of the day, no one's inherently moved by Botox or laser hair removal. Maybe more so those two, because the marketing on them has been done so well that people think laser hair removal, they think, oh, laser hair removal. And then people think Botox, they think wrinkles, right? The marketing has been done, but not necessarily with every single service. Where was I? So there's always going to be demand for the services that you offer, but you want to stand out, right? Especially amongst the sea of new aesthetic clinics and owners popping up every single corner, because like I said, everyone offers these services. You need to be able to address solutions to problems and distinctly solve them in a way that people do not see in other clinics. And you present these solutions to them in the form of your offer. So if you sell Botox, there's really nothing special about it, right? You become a commodity, aka someone that they can just get Botox from. Botox is a commodity, much like eggs or butter. So that's why if you just sell Botox, you're going to be price shocked. But when you see these skilled injectors that have multiple thousands of followers on Instagram, they are not viewed as a commodity. They're viewed as highly skilled specialists. This is just one example on how to stand out, right? That's through content. But thankfully, you don't need thousands of followers on your injector to make this work. You just need to create a great offer, have a good sales pack and process to close leads into higher ticket packages. So for paid ads, without a doubt, the most important aspect is your offer. And without a good offer, no amount of targeting, fancy images, amazing copywriting is going to save it. And it's the single-handedly the most important aspect. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Our offer is our axe. make the axe great, and the chopping down of the tree will be easy. So as you can see, the quality of our offer is what matters most. And when you look at types of med spa offers, when you're looking to attract new clients, there are either really low ticket, there's mid ticket, which is like 150 to 1,000, and you have high ticket, which is like 1,000 plus. And the type of offer that you want to select is really depending on the type of lead that you're targeting, because at the end of the day, there's a huge misconception that selling a high ticket offer will convert better leads. It's the most ridiculous thing, right? If someone tells you that, they're dead off. If you're trying to sell to someone that doesn't know anything about your business, why would you try to sell them the most expensive thing, right? Do you want a one-time buyer, or do you want a lifelong client? So promoting a high ticket offer for that reason via meta ads is not going to actually improve your lead quality. In fact, it's going to lower your volume, the amount of leads that you input their info, and it's going to increase your CPL, your cost per lead. So if you can see, there's really different tiers here, and when someone's becoming a new client, you typically want to bring them towards that low ticket offer, but it doesn't mean we forget about these offers, doesn't mean we don't offer these. It's just depending on the audience that you are targeting at that specific moment. So how do we decommoditize your offer? So to make sure that you're not being price dropped, you have to think of your business as a unique problem solver to common issues. So if you go to Whole Foods, you'll see that they sell eggs, flour, water, butter, baking powder, all of those things, right? But they also will sell you the cake that you're basically trying to bake with all of those ingredients, right? They already sell the cake pre-made, and something that costs maybe less than $5 on a per unit basis, they can sell you for $40 in the bakery section, or even more, $60, $100, right? People can charge a lot for cakes. And the reason being is because the perceived value of the cake is much greater than the sum of ingredients. So you want to do the same thing. You want to separate yourself from the ingredients, your services, and find the solution. People want Botox for a very specific reason, and they want to look more youthful. So give them the entire solution, right? Present a part of that solution as your intro offer, and then give them the entire solution as they're coming in your back-end process. So ideally, this should have a high perceived value, but relatively cheap and easy for you to deliver. So when we're doing any types of sales, we want to understand that you want to sell the future state, so what they're going to be accomplishing, not the product or the service. So here's a killer Botox offer. So if you present your offer like this, let's say it's 10 units of Botox, which might cost you $150. Dermaplaning $100, B12 shot $50, and the skin analysis $50. The total cost of that is about $350. So you want to give the special a name. Let's say it's the summer. You want to call it something like the Smooth Summer Special, or really whatever you'd like. The perceived value and the actual value, or the perceived value is rather $350 or above. If you price your offer at $97, it'll be extremely desirable and even may go viral, right? And you don't need to take it to this extreme, but understand that there's cost to acquiring a new client. We know that it doesn't cost this much to do all of this stuff, right? It doesn't. Otherwise, you'd be selling it for more, because why would you run a business at cost? But the point of this offer is to generate volume, right? Because if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not going to make any money on these leads, they're going to be low quality leads, I don't think so, right? If these are your thoughts, please consider the following. Not only are they not true not only in what we've been proven, but also in theory, right? So first is, people who have money still like a deal, right? Many people are rich because they don't spend. Number two, Groupon offers tend to be heavy on discounts on individual treatments. We don't recommend this strategy as it further commoditizes your services. That's why we bake the cake by combining different treatments together. We then discount the entire package and give it a unique name. This is how we make offers attractive without damaging your price integrity or reputation. Also, we aren't on Groupon for a reason. People who are on Groupon are there for a deal, and they will likely never come back. Don't think of these leads as the same type of leads. They're just not. People are on Groupon to get a deal. It's a very active thing, whereas people that see your offer on Facebook happens passively. They didn't ask to see your ad. 3, your knee-jerk reaction might be to advertise a high-ticket service and just discount it. And this is not an attractive offer, right? People see right through it. You're basically trying to sell your most expensive offer to a cold audience. They don't know you, they don't trust you, and in return, you're going to have to spend about 5 to 10 times more on meta ads to bring in the same amount of clientele. So money that you thought you were going to be saving by avoiding discount shoppers instead gets spent on expensive, low-performing ads. 4, a percentage of price shoppers is inevitable when you run meta ads, right? At the end of the day, there's no way to avoid this. This is a factor of life. No matter what offer we run, the correct strategy here, though, is to cast a wide net with a super attractive low-cost offers so that you can weed people out with your follow-up and by collecting a credit card deposit to secure the deployment, right? And if we were getting if there was a get qualified leads button, we would all press it, right? It would be easy. You only qualify leads by speaking to them and weeding them out. And if that sounds like a lot of work, well, let's get used to that fact of life that most things are work. 5, some price shoppers will still slip through and book an appointment. Simply use this as an opportunity to improve your sales process. It's hard to build a bulletproof sales process if you don't have any hard leads to sell and practice on. So 6, you only don't make money if you don't have a strategy, right? And if you don't have a strategy, then why are you running ads, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to have a system. You don't just run ads and hope people convert. So the goal here is to get more leads, get more sales opportunities, sell more packages, get more referrals. And I really want to redirect you to this image here. Remember what we want. We want more leads, because the more leads that we have, I'm not going to go into all of it again, but you understand. Most people will count this off before even trying it and then wonder why their ads don't convert or why they're spending so much money or why they don't make enough sales. So if someone is hearing about you for the first time, wouldn't you want to give them great value up front so that they can reciprocate it in the future? After all, like I said, look at me as an example. This is what I'm trying to do here. And something that's so important, leads don't buy on the ad, right? They're not going to just come in for $97. Some people will, yes, but once they see that they're going to spend more if you just have a sales process, right? They already spent the time, they came in, they showed interest, they did all of the things, and even if they pay you, they're paying you for basically a consultation. You're getting information on them, they're coming in. These are all things that you do in the sales process. People do not buy on the ad. They buy when they come in for the service. And the ad is simply the opportunity to get them to come through the door. Please understand this, okay? So let us go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Creating offers. Okay, so how to think about offers. There are really 4 main types of offers for med spas, and I kind of mentioned them: low ticket, mid ticket, high ticket membership offers. And they all have their use case in their place, so let's break down each one. Low ticket offers are priced anywhere from $50 to $150. These are used to bring in new clients for meta ads, and you should think of them as a way of getting paid to have a sales conversation with someone. You need to have a consult with new patients in order to figure out what they actually need and want to sell them. And the problem is that consults are perceived as boring and scary, and this is why advertising a consultation alone doesn't work, even if it's free. Free things don't have value. So the solution is to advertise an introductory package, that includes a treatment and a consultation. This way, you can charge up front because treatments have high value. People will be excited to show up because there's a treatment involved, and you can still consult with the patient to find out what they need and aim to sell them at them. So let's use a little dating example. When you meet someone for the first time, you don't ask them to marry you. You ask them on a low commitment outing, such as a coffee date or the park, maybe a drink. It's the same thing with your treatments. This is why you shouldn't expect much success trying to bring in strangers with expensive treatments. This is why we deploy low-ticket offers to attract new clients. These campaigns generate a high-volume lead campaign, and they give you sales opportunities with all kinds of potential clients, all kinds, right? At the end of the day, you are trading your offer for their contact information, and those are the people in your market, right? Mid-ticket offers. These are easy to sell programs designed to create initial results and make you money. They are priced anywhere from $150 to $1,000 and usually sold during a consultation. We like to use mid-ticket offers in our SMS campaigns because we're already dealing with a warmer audience. These are people that already know you. And if you advertise a mid-ticket offer on Meta, don't expect as many leads as if you're advertising a low-ticket offer. It's best for leads to start at the bottom of the offer ladder, and this is why we recommend low-ticket offers for Meta ads. So don't get stuck into the trap of thinking that if you increase the price, you'll increase lead quality. That is a myth, and I hope that you're starting to understand so. Increasing the price will only lead to increase in basically more that you pay Facebook. You cannot tell if someone is going to be qualified via an ad. It's just not where people buy. People buy in consultations. If you keep avoiding this fact, you will never work on your sales ability. High ticket offers is to enroll. Let's click that while we're here. Is to enroll patients in a complete treatment so that they can get the best results while making the most money. They are priced at $1,000 plus and best sold during a consultation. You also may display these offers in clinic to increase their visibility and stimulate conversation. The best thing to do with high ticket offers is to present case studies and examples of people who have done them in the past to create social proof around that high ticket offer. And if you don't have them, then you want to improve your sales consultation process to truly find why people came in. And more of this a little bit later, right? High ticket offers should always be presented. You need to give people an option to spend more, otherwise they won't spend more. And you just need to have a strategy in order to do so. And then once you start doing it, you realize it's not as scary as you might think. Okay, membership offers. Membership offers are used to enroll clients in monthly membership programs so they continue to get better results over time. Membership offers can be presented at any time in the client journey. However, we do not recommend using membership offers as a way to attract new clients into your clinic. Just like the dating example, clients would rather their first experience to the clinic, before committing to a multi-month long membership. And the membership offer should be presented to people who have already shown consistent buying activity, right? These are people that are already loyal. You just want to make them a little bit more loyal. But you also want to have this membership offer available through many mediums. So every client that walks through the MedSpas knows that you have a membership program. And really the goal is to make it simple, because if you can make it simple, you're going to make it easy to sell. If you make it easy to sell, you're going to have more people sign up for it, which will increase your client loyalty, increase your monthly recurring revenue, and then also allow you to have calculable lifetime value. So what to avoid? You want to avoid these types of offers to bring in new clients. So BOGO offers, leave it to the grocery store. If you do that, it'll train your clients to think of you as a commodity, and that's just not good, right? New clients don't want to commit to 2 visits. They don't even know if they'll like your clinic. If it doesn't mean they will, I just don't like BOGO. Just leave it to the grocery store, okay? Percentage off. Once again, you want to leave this to the grocery stores and gas stations. You're again just positioning your services as commodities that can be reduced by percentages. You should only offer discounts on bundles of treatments, not the treatments themselves. And then flyer type offers. Let me go back. I've seen this time and time again though. It's basically the idea of like, let's try to run a bunch of offers and hope someone buys from one of them. It's the shotgun approach, spray and pray. It's completely unfocused. There's too much room for confusion, oftentimes from the clinic owners themselves who actually forget what they're running. And then they also just confuse clients, while reinforcing your services as commodities. I would just avoid it. We want to be ultra focused on every step of our offer ladder. And if you can create a predictable client sales process, you'll not only make more money, you'll have less headaches. And I want to make your life simpler. So best and worst treatments to offer. We've tested a ton of offers and we have a good idea of what treatments are best to bring into clinic for the people that know nothing about you. You want an offer, like I said, creates high lead volume, and this needs to appeal to a high range of people in order to do that. And there's only one way to really know what people need, like I said, a consultation. So let's not forget it. The best to bring in new people are Botox, laser facials, IPL, RF skin tightening, and semaglutide. And you can read those for the reasons that they are. The most challenging are tattoo removal, laser hair removal, IV therapy, PRP, cool sculpting. Doesn't mean you can't, but it's just a little bit more challenging. The worst, body contouring, sexual health, acne treatments, microneedling, chemical peels, and you can read those reasons as to why. So how do we distribute these offers? So if you remember, now we have created an offer. Let's apply it to these 4 different channels, right? We have paid ads. So we like to use Meta. It's the primary form of advertising that we use for our clients. However, we still run Google Ads for specific clients, but Meta is the best. But ultimately, all the platforms have their advantages, disadvantages. But Meta, I think, is still clear away the favorite, and for 2 reasons. It owns Facebook and Instagram, so you're actually advertising on 2 platforms for 1. And then the paid ads are integrated with free content. So most people spend their leisure time on these platforms by far. They're the most popular platforms, including TikTok, but still Instagram and Facebook have the most users by far. And they just lead every single social platform when it comes to their advertising platform. So the other platforms have a semblance to that, but Meta has been the clear runway for most people to get started and quickly generate leads and easily do so. So what to know about paid ads is simply the most asymmetrical avenue to add business to your med spa today. If you can run a successful ad campaign, dial in the numbers, you will always eat. And I'm going to have an entire training for paid ads, which is actually going to be done quite soon. I'll record another video on that as well, so stay tuned. But in that training, I'll go over how to set up your ad account, how to pick an offer, how to create a successful ad, who to target, and how to track success for that ad. And there's a lot to go into that, so I'll save it in for that training. But once completed, it will be on my YouTube channel. Channel 2 being SMS database reactivation. This is one of the most powerful channels for appointment booking. If you're not reactivating your database with an offer, you're simply losing clients. People will forget about you. They'll move to another med spa that does it. And you don't always need to chase new clients. You just need booked appointments, right? Most of the time, you'll just need to do a better job with the clients that you already have. And for that reason, you need a good CRM with functionality and automation set up. I use Go High Level. These reactivation campaigns are extremely profitable. And I recommend doing it every 30 to 60 days. It's also a good rule of thumb is just to launch one whenever you're ready to run a meta campaign. So your database will kind of look like this, right? There's past clients that are either warm and cold. They'll see your text with their offer. They'll think I don't need this, or they'll think, okay, what about that problem that I was thinking of fixing? They'll realize either the offer is great or that you reminded them of getting something else that they wanted to get done, and then it leads to booked appointments. So it's really great for promoting a specific offer, but also reminding people that you're there, and it just makes them think about you and basically either come in for an appointment, whether it be for the thing that you wanted them to come in for or something completely different altogether. Channel 3, content. This is so simple, but most clinics don't do it. If you're running an offer and you're going to pay Meta to get leads, wouldn't you want to promote it for free as well? Like, that part never made sense to me, right? Because people will pay to run an offer on Facebook, but they won't run it for free for the people that already follow them. So, it doesn't need to be the same exact offer. You can run a different offer because, like I said, we hit different types of the market with different offers, but you want to increase the audience that sees your offer, right? And if you're going to offer something to people who don't know anything about you, why wouldn't you reward those who have followed you and engaged you with your content? So for content, the best strategy that I've found is to record videos, pictures of the treatment that is going to be used for the intro offer, and use client results as a way to drive bookings. It's really, really simple. Make anywhere from 5 to 10 posts, 5 to 10 stories, have them DM you with a certain word. For this example, let's use the word Botox. For all the people that DM you, they can see you can see that they're interested in that specific offer, right? Because they've showed you what offer they're interested in. You can get their details, book them in for a consultation, and you can even make it more powerful when you add all of them, like I said, right? So the more they see you, the more real estate that you'll have in their mind. And even if they decide to not move forward with you, they will remember you. And like I said, this is what it means to become undeniable. And then channel 4 is partnerships. So this is where you can make all other channels even more powerful. And this is so underused. So creating partnerships with your local business or your local influencer can seriously change your business overnight. It's not an exaggeration. If you find the right influencer or the right business to promote your business, appointments will start flowing in like crazy. And the caveat is you just need to find the right partnership, and you need to figure out how to acquire these partnerships. So they're one of the most profitable things you can do. You can partner with other businesses to white label your services for their clients, or you can partner with them to get referrals, or you can partner with them to get media and attention, or you can partner with them on joint ventures. There's a lot of ways to do it, and it's extremely important. So that was addressing problem number 1, where people don't get enough leads. And now, how do we get those leads to convert into regularly paying clients? So cold leads are not the same as warm leads or referrals. And one of the biggest problems that are created is when business owners do not understand the difference. That's why I wanted in the beginning, as you saw, to outline the difference between those, right? And they expect cold leads to behave the same way as warm leads and referrals do, which is simply not the case. For this reason, they're just scared to lose money on intro offers or initial offers because they don't understand the game, or LTV. Right? They just don't understand the game of returning clients, of getting people to come back. And this is a big problem, because if you expect this to be the case, you're going to think about it completely wrong and end up with a strategy that doesn't work. So if we go back to an earlier statement in the document, right? Only qualified leads can buy. And remember the different types of leads. There's cold, there's warm, and there's qualified. And none of them are equal to one another. So in order to nurture leads, we want to identify objections. So not only their biggest objections, their general objections, objections about the delivery of the service, money, time, objections about you, your company, your service, knowledge, technical objections about themselves, and then you can make a couple of them, right? The first part of improving your offer is to identify every single objection or reason not to buy. So very, very important step, and here's why. Whether you admit it or not, there are very real and very logical reasons as to why someone would not want to buy your service, right? Those exist, and if you don't address them, you'll lose a lot of sales because you don't even know why, first of all, and you think, well, that's just life, those people, they're just like that. And those people actually have opportunities for you to convert them, and there will always be a few main/big objections that you'll need to overcome in order to make the sale. And many objections will not be logical. That doesn't mean that you don't need to overcome them, and it doesn't mean that they make them any less real to the prospect. So you should write out a minimum of 100 objections or reasons why someone would not want to buy from you. Think of this as hard as you can. Don't be bothered if some are similar or repetitive. Write down at least 100. Your business will thank you. And not only, you will find opportunities of growth. Some of them will be, like I said, illogical, but some of them will be logical, and you'll actually find opportunities for growth there as well. So what do you need to do? You need to address and overcome the biggest objections during your consultations, during your presentation, whether you have a sales deck, if you have things on your website. You need to do all of that, and all remaining objections will become the basis for your content strategy and your lead magnets. So make content and lead magnets paired with ads to address and overcome each one. So, addressing objections. Addressing objections. So all of the objections that there will be a few of them that are big and most important, but most of them will specifically be basically addressed in your sales material or in your content and your ads, right? So addressing the biggest objections, there'll always be like the most common ones, which are, there's, I have to think about it, it's a lot of money, I'm just worried it won't work, and a ton of them. But if you just don't prepare for these, you're going to be average. And by preparing, it doesn't mean that you're a scummy salesperson. At the end of the day, we only want to overcome objections of people that we can truly help. And if you don't think you can help them and they have a reasonable objection, let the sale go. Right? It's the right thing to do. And then, so what do you need to do? You need to first identify those biggest objections, overcome them, figure out which one of these that can basically torpedo the entire deal. You need to address all of them, right? You need to try to think of at least 3 ways that you can address and solve these. If it makes sense, implement all 3 of them. You can quite literally show this to the client during a consultation. So show them the main reasons why it might not be a good fit, and then show them why you're going to address these. They will appreciate the transparency, and not only, it's kind of like anti-sales, like reverse psychology. It's like, hey, like this is not for these type of people, it's kind of for this type of people, right? So you should preemptively address these during your pitch, your call, your sales deck, whatever you do, however you do your consultation. A lot of people do them differently, but don't wait for it to be brought up if you can help it, because at the end of the day, transparency equals trust. If they can trust you, they will likely buy from you. And you can and should be consistently updating and refining this list over time. If you hear the same objection more than once, you should likely write down and address it. Now, for those that think this is optional, fine, don't do it, but your consultations will suffer, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Let us go to the next one, before and after, right? In any consultation, you should always focus on their desired result. So people don't buy based off of logic, people buy off of emotion. This is an opinion, this is a matter of fact. So the power of contrast in that case becomes extremely important, because you want your services to be the bridge in order to get them from where they are to where they want to be. And in order to do so, you actually need to know what these are. So write down a list of a bunch of reasons why people come into your med spa, and then what they experience after, hence before and after. And this is really powerful, because part of creating a great offer is correctly identifying their desired results. If you do not correctly explain or even talk about their desired results, the chances of the deal going and getting closed go way down. So you should correctly identify their overall desired result and also break it into sub-desired results. And that makes it exponentially more powerful when you use it in your marketing or sales assets. And this is what you can use to also create content, right, before and afters. And you can quite literally show this on a chart on your consultation, or break it up and touch on all of these points at the same time. But we also need to find a system that's going to be automated and systematized, right? If you need to go on Instagram, Facebook, Google, your messages, WhatsApp, CRM, your mailing platform, all of these places to get incoming messages, you're doing it wrong, right? It's taking too much time. It's simply a different game now. You need a software that integrates all of these platforms where you can receive messages into one place. And you need to be organized, otherwise you'll miss leads and sales opportunities. So we need a system that automates this entire process so that we can systematically nurture leads at scale. And the problem with manual follow-up here, like I said, the best thing that you can do, manually follow up by phone to every single lead multiple times. But the problem is that most people don't do it. Most business owners say they don't have the time, or their staff just doesn't do it, right? Or they're just really busy. Whether it be busyness or laziness, how can you downplay the singular action that books appointments? So how do we address this problem? We need to create a system that is automated, that facilitates our ability to conduct the follow-up, because it's single-handedly probably the most crucial aspects of converting leads into booked appointments. Because at the end of the day, if they sign up for a form, they're in your CRM, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to let it sit there and hope, like, oh yeah, they're going to come to you? No, you need to follow up with them. That falls on the business, that falls on your shoulders, right? So if you hear yourself complaining about lead quality, think again. It's probably not you. It's probably not the leads. It's probably you. And FYI, this is how we implement with our clients and have them conduct follow-up. And the reason it kind of looks intense, it's because it is, and they are intense results too, right? Can't be underestimated. So how do you nurture leads at scale if you can't manually follow up with everyone? It's never going to be as good, but it'll get close. So if you want to nurture leads at scale, there's really 4 things that you can do. You can consistently implement case studies and reviews. You can hire appointment setters. You can have automated SMS sequences, and you can have a newsletter, right? And I think you need all 4. I think you need all 4 because they're all essential to making sure that the lead is already bought in before they come in for the consultation. And like I said, when people are in between this here, you need to get them in, right? There's already so many people that disqualified themselves. The people that are finally showing up in your CRM, you need to get them as familiar with you and your process as possible so that they're ready to come in and buy. And it's important to note that you should make every single lead more bought in the moment they step foot in the door, right? Your ads, your content, your outreach, your newsletter, your case studies should combine to have them make the decision to hire you, or rather to purchase from you, or to purchase. Jeez, great spelling day, huh? Before they even walk into the door. In an ideal world, all you would need to do on the consultation, sort out the details, the payment, and get started with the treatment. And if this is not the case, then you need your process to improve throughout all of those other things that we spoke about in terms of nurturing your leads. And if you want to make this your goal, you will make it happen. So in other words, with case studies, you want to think about the businesses that get the most businesses. It is typically the ones that have the most case studies, reviews, testimonials. I don't really have to tell you why this is important, but you understand that humans look at other humans' experiences, and they determine if they're going to have a good experience from that information, right? So it's extremely crucial to get before and after reviews, testimonials, as much as possible. So now we've talked about leads, how to get more leads. We've talked about how to nurture these leads. Let's talk about how to make sure these leads don't get wasted. So most med spas just sell services, and you're probably asking yourself, like, well, what else is there to sell? But the chances are you're under monetized because you're not offering multiple solutions when you could be. And this doesn't mean you're making your business more complicated. It just means framing it in a different way. So you're probably making this much when you really could be making this much. So there are 4 ways of monetization. You have products, you have services, you have programs and packages, and you have memberships. So there's a quick little breakdown of all of them. Obviously, products, you know what those are. Services, you know what those are. Programs and packages, you know what those are. Memberships, you know what those are. And if you want to read those, feel free. But I'm going to get a little bit on because this video is getting quite long. So most businesses only have services, right? They're under monetized because they just do their services and that's it, right? As advertised, as priced, that's all we do, right? And then they focus on selling that services multiple times. And because of this, they're just losing out on a ton of revenue and even higher potential profit from their products, their programs, partnerships, all these things, memberships, all these things, right? So I think you should be fully monetized because it'll put you in the position to make your business sellable, right? And even if you don't intend on selling it, positioning it to be sellable means that the day that the business does not rely on you, the business owner, to make it work, right? This means it is attractive to potential business owners. Doesn't mean you need to sell it, but it's about setting your business up and ultimately making more money. So let's talk a little bit about products. There's many ways to sell products, and there's a couple avenues that you can take in order to sell more products or even sell services. One being you can include them in packages. You can use them as a closing technique for a service, and you can add them into a membership program to incentivize people to sign up. So If you include them in packages, we're typically talking about something that is mid to high ticket, and in this case, it is best to add it as a bonus because products typically have a high perceived value. And in order, in terms of using them as a closing technique, you can kind of see here the way that we have it set up is, let's say the person wants to pay, then obviously they just want to pay, but you can use a free skincare close as a way to get people to close on higher ticket packages, on services, products, and that sort of thing. So that's services, or that's products rather. Let's talk about programs and packages. So this goes back to the idea of creating an offer that is enticing to clients because you're presenting something that solves an entire problem. So why does McDonald's sell you the Big Mac? They sell you the fries and they sell you the Coke, right? Because they understand that it's solving an entire problem when they put it as a meal, right? Yeah, I could just get the burger, I could just get the fries, and I could just get the drink, but they're so much better when they're all together because you have the main course, you have a side, and you have a drink, right? If you want to buy these services separately, it comes out to $14.56 actually on McDonald's. And if you want to buy it as a meal, it actually comes down to $12.99. Depends on your area, of course, but I was using my area for this, and it comes down to $12.99, which just lets you know, say, like, all types of businesses package things, right? They put it together to solve an entire problem, and that's why the meal has been such a valid, crucial part for these types of businesses because, you probably don't see your services that way, right? As like something like low ticket like this, right? But they are just at a bigger scale. And that's probably why you don't sell packages, because if you conduct a proper consultation, most people will tell you their ideal goal. Most of the time, you can align their ideal goal with not just one service, but multiple services. And there are so many ways to sell packages, right? You can sell package sequences, which is just the same treatment, right? Like laser hair removal or cool sculpting or that sort of thing. And you just spread it out over a certain period of time, aka sessions. Or you can sell treatments that combine with one another that create a desired end result. But one thing is for certain, if you don't give people the option to spend more, they certainly won't. So give them the option, make sure that they, that the package solves the entire problem. And just using the McDonald's example again, with packages you can create tiers, like small, medium, large, right? Except you can just do this with treatments. And you can kind of see this as one of the packages that we have in our program. After conducting these packages, you want to make sure to always get before and afters and testimonials to increase the likelihood of the purchases of them in the future. Memberships. Let me get a little sip of my water. You need to have a membership. Yes, you can have a successful successful med spa without one, but just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And membership are an extremely asymmetrical avenue of revenue in your business. So what does that mean? By adding a good and solid membership program and getting a consistent amount of new members every month, you get many benefits for the one action of just having it and promoting it. So let's think a little bit about how people purchase memberships, right? 7 out of 10 patients want a membership for their aesthetic needs. So think about the way that we purchase nowadays, right? You have Amazon Prime, you have Spotify, Netflix, etc. People purchase ongoing services and goods for additional benefits, even if they aren't consistently using them. And because typically it's at a lower ticket per month, they don't have to pay everything all up front at once. So why do you think these companies were able to scale to their size? Because they understand predictable revenue models and lifetime value. Memberships are a no-brainer, right? When you have a membership program, you increase your monthly recurring revenue, you increase client loyalty, you increase predictable revenue because you can actually track how many people churn every month on average, so you can track how much revenue you're going to make, and the lifetime value of every potential client. You can get better results because these people are coming on a consistent basis, and you increase the value of your enterprise because the business no longer relies on one person. And in my eyes, you want to keep it simple, straightforward, without much fluff. One service, one price, no contract, great sign-up incentive. So let's talk about tactical approach. Where do I start, right? And I know this probably can seem super intimidating. We've been going on for more than an hour and a half now, and it probably should be, if you're not doing any of these. And if you're not doing any of these, you can probably see why the competition is winning, because they are, right? But the 1,000-mile journey begins with one step, and you don't need to worry how long it's going to take. You just need to see if you could take the next step, right? But at the end of the day, remember, you want to do all of these, and you don't want to stop until all are implemented, right? Content. So creating a content schedule. Oftentimes, people delay the first step so much because they don't want to commit to something. Then they take the first step and realize that they've wasted more time delaying it than they would have taken just doing the thing. So be the person that just does the thing, right? Create a content schedule so you don't have to, so you can plan all of your content in 1 and 2 days, and you can film it, right? And you'll pretty much have it all done. And you can be surprised by how much content you record in one day. You can easily split up 30 pieces of content from one day of recording. So get in the habit of posting content consistently. You'll get the idea of what type of content you want to post, what type of content you feel comfortable posting, and what works, right? So you want one feed post and one reel to start off, then post these to your story. Just continue to do that, one per day, right? And content frameworks you can kind of see here for every single platform. I'm not going to go too deep into that. I think the best platforms for promoting your content right now are the short form platforms, because they can be distributed to the highest volume amount of people, because the way the algorithms work, it's based on interest, not based on people you follow or the people that follow you. So for that reason, you can really drive a ton of traffic. YouTube long form is a really great place to get subscribers, but in order for this to work for local businesses, it's going to be a little bit more tough, but you can still do it. I think shorts are still better. I think Instagram reels are definitely better. TikTok is still definitely better. Facebook is still definitely better, but YouTube long form has definitely a place if you want to create sort of like an online product or an online service for a specific type of audience in your niche, or in your market rather. So short form content is definitely the best way to go in terms of getting leads. And the number one issue is that people suck at making it, so they don't make it. Something that I did for the first 30 days of doing it, I would go to a random word generated website. I would just pick a word and I would ramble on about that word for about 2 minutes and kind of figure out what I could come up with, right? So I would do that as a training exercise, and then I would record my content. And that's really how I started off. And you don't want to just drone on, at the end of the day, you want to make this kind of like a series. So post one short form video per day on all of the platforms. And then after day 100, you will really realize that you're a lot better than when you started, right? So just get started with some short form content. And the best way to do so is Instagram and Facebook, because you should post a mix of content of reels and of carousels, and Facebook and Instagram are definitely the best way to do so. And you kind of want to be clickbaity. Sounds kind of wrong, but on these platforms, you want to go for the highest possible reach, so that you can basically link these people to like a newsletter, so that you can basically get these people to sign up for them at some point. TikTok is obviously extremely prominent, but there's a couple of things happening with TikTok, and the US regulations, and I don't know, it's still a viable option, but you want to keep note that the US government is literally watching over them. This is a fact, and it is something to consider. So, take that for what you will with TikTok. In terms of ads, instead of running paid ads to like a free consultation, we want to run our paid ads to our intro offers that we created. We talked about that. And like I said, our goal is to get a high volume of leads. But in order to do so, you have to think, okay, who is seeing my ads? What is the distribution of these people? And the distribution is going to be typically like this. There's going to be people that are going to have no money. There's going to be people that are seeking a new provider. There are going to be people that are focused on a specific problem, never had a treatment, and are unfamiliar. So that's why we always want to push it towards getting more volume. In terms of database reactivation, this is how we do it. Text one is an intro text, so that's where you introduce yourself. and you have a short text about the offer with an opt-in for the full offer. So it would be something like, hey, it's me, it's Lucas at ABC Med Spa. We're thinking of running a quick package for the first 20 people that sign up for a lip rejuvenation kit or something like that, right? I'm just making this up off the top of my head, and then you say reply Y if you're interested. Once they reply Y, they automatically get sent their second text by that opt-in, because we have the automation set up, where that second text actually is a full offer breakdown, and then they're also sent another opt-in for the people that are interested. So if they're interested again after they've read the whole offer, at the end of it, it'll say, hey, reply Y if you're interested in booking an appointment. They reply Y again, and then the third text is the appointment text, where we let them know that we saved the spot for them. We ask them when they're available, whether it be in the mornings or the afternoons, and then you go ahead and book them in. In terms of partnerships, you really want to break this down into two parts. There's business partnerships and there's people partnerships. And that's really much it, guys, right? This is probably one of the most powerful lead generating activities, because if you have a local influencer promote your product or service, you'll generate more leads than you can handle. And the partnership needs to make sense for both parties. So creating a proposal for both businesses and influencers is really key, so that they know what they're getting, because you want to be a giver, not a taker. And these two types of partnership can change the trajectory of your business. And at the end of the day, after everything that I've gone through, it means nothing if you implement or if you don't implement. It only means it if you implement, rather. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Quite a long training, but hopefully very informative, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time with a paid ads training. See you soon.